Yakubu Gowon, President Bola Tinubu, take part in ceremonial signing of commemorative card marking 50th anniversary of ECOWAS. House of Representatives passes resolution to investigate alleged violations of Student Loan Act. 3 dead, others injured as two-story building under construction collapses in Lagos State. On the firing scene, Israeli military eliminates Hamas Gaza chief Mohammed Sinwar. Good evening. This is News at 7 on Western Spring Television. I'm Timitope Ajijolawala. The Nigerian head of state, General Yakubu Gowon, and President Bola Tinubu on Wednesday took part in the ceremonial signing of a commemorative card marking the 50th anniversary of the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS. The event was held in the conference chamber of the Nigerian Institute of International Affairs, where the original ECOWAS treaty was signed in 1975. General Gowon, the only surviving leader among the original signatories of the treaty that established the ECOWAS, was specially honored for his pioneering role in promoting regional integration. Presidents of all the member states were represented at the event, with the exception of Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso, which have withdrawn from the regional bloc due to political disagreements. In his remarks, General Gowon noted that in recent years, the bloc has witnessed the troubling resurgence of military coup in some of the member states, adding that personal ambition still drives some individuals to do the wrong thing.
The community has consistently proven that our shared future as Africans is strongest when we stand and work together. As we commemorate this Golden Jubilee, allow me to commend the dedication and contribution of all successive ECOWAS leaders, past in some of our member states. We thought that was over, but it seems as though personal ambition drive some people to do the wrong thing. But let me say this, belief in democracy is what I'm now advising all members of ECOWAS in the countries. We must not let these setbacks define us. Rather, let them awake.
Distinguished gathering at 50th anniversary of ECOWAS today. We celebrate not only 5 decades of history, but the enduring spirit of unity, resilience, and shared destiny that defines our community. In 1975, our founding father leaders envisioned a West Africa where borders unite rather than divide, a region of free movement, thriving trade, and peaceful coexistence. That vision is still alive today. We thank God. We have the thinkers, we have the wise men. We have the opportunity. Today we pay tribute to all who have nurtured it, especially you, General Dr. Yakubu Gowon, GCFR.
The House of Representatives on Wednesday called on relevant agencies of the federal government to carry out a reintegration plan for internally displaced persons across the country. The decision of the House was sequel to the adoption of a motion on notice during Wednesday's plenary, sponsored by the member representing Eleme Uyigbo, Tai, Federal Constituency, River State, Felix Nweke. Speaking on the substance of the motion, the Rivers lawmaker noted that as of April 2024, the internally displaced persons in Nigeria were estimated at 3.3 billion persons living in over 300 camps across Benue, Kaduna, Kano, Katsina, Kogi, Nasarawa, Niger, Plateau, Sokoto, and Zamfara states. Following the adoption of the motion, the House urged the Federal Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Reduction and the National Emergency Management Agency to conduct an assessment of the situation in the IDP camps across the country and draw up a reintegration plan for IDPs. It also mandated its Committee on Emergency and Disaster Management to ensure compliance.
I marched with calls for improved welfare, feeding, security of the displaced persons in these over 300 camps. Also note that there has to be a plan on how to prepare these persons who have been forced out of their homes and
Honorable Daudu,
living
you are distracting Chairman House Committee on Finance and other related matters.
Used to psychologically, emotionally, and physically to reintegrate them back to a normal standard of living. Worried that if the displaced persons, most of whom are women, are children, are returned home after relative peace is restored in their communities without a structured reintegration plan that will be providing cash assistance, food and clothing, and psychological and emotional counseling and support. It would amount to insensitivity to their plight and at most abandonment. The House resolved to urge the Federal Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Reduction and the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, to conduct an assessment of the situation.
Honorable Daudu, you are distracting Chairman House Committee on Services.
Across the country and
kindly sit down, please.
A reintegration plan for IDPs. Also mandate the Committee on Emergency and Disaster Management to ensure compliance. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
In other developments, the House of Representatives has passed a resolution to investigate alleged violations of the Student Loan Act. As a sequel to a motion of urgent importance on alleged unethical practices and the disbursement of student loans by Aliyu Abdullahi, presenting a motion on the floor of the House. Mustafa expressed deep concern over alleged misconduct, threatening the integrity and transparency of the student loan scheme, established under the Student Loans Access to Higher Education Act 2024. The program, which offers interest-free loans to eligible Nigerian students, has reportedly recorded over 500,000 registered applicants and disbursed more than 54 billion naira nationwide. However, Mustafa cited disturbing revelations that cast serious doubt on the administration of the scheme.
Education. Also notes that significant progress has been made in the program so far, with over 500,000 applicants and the disbursement of over 54 billion to beneficiaries across the country. Aware that a recent report by the National Orientation Agency alleging collusion between certain tertiary institutions and financial institutions to delay, divert, or conceal disbursement of student loans under the Nigerian Education Loan Fund, the NEL Fund. Also aware that the National Orientation Agency and NEL Fund have uncovered that some institutions received loan disbursement but failed to notify beneficiaries or update financial records, which is a violation of the NEL Fund guidelines, raising concerns over transparency and accountability. Further aware that the Federal Ministry of Education has initiated a probe into alleged unauthorized deductions from student loans by some universities describing the act as a gross violation of public trust and a breach of Student Loans Act 2024. Concerned about reports of mismanagement and lack of proper verification, including instances where tertiary institutions upload inflated school fees on the NELFund portal, cases of final year students receiving loans after graduation, and disbursement made to tertiary institutions even after students have fully paid their tuition fees to avoid delays. Worried that violations of NELFund guidelines by some institutions may have denied thousands of students their rightful access to loans and undermine the credibility of the loan scheme. Further worried
Okoli Lawrence and Akin Basho Olanrewaju, two members of the House of Representatives, have defected to the All Progressives Congress, APC. Speaker of the House, Tajuddin Abbas, read their defection notices during Wednesday's plenary. Lawrence, the lawmaker representing Aniocha North, Aniocha South, Oshimili North, Oshimili South, Federal Constituency of Delta State, was a member of the Labour Party. The lawmaker said his defection to the APC will bring governance closer to his constituency. Olanrewaju, a former member of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, represents Idore, a federal constituency of Ondo State. He attributed his defection to the crisis in the PDP, saying he wants to align himself with the APC ideology and renewed hope agenda of President Bola Tinubu. However, his defection drew a protest from the minority leader, Kingsley Chinda, who raised the point of order, arguing that there was no crisis in the PDP. Now to judicial matters. The legal team representing Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan on Wednesday raised the alarm over what it described as a disturbing pattern of selective justice following the federal government's decision to file criminal charges against her despite multiple unresolved petitions she lodged earlier this year. In a statement released by her counsel, Uju Nwodewu, the team outlined 12 petitions submitted by the senator between March and May 2025. The petitions reportedly detail allegations including cyber stalking, defamation, threats to life, and an alleged assassination attempt, according to the legal team. None of the complaints have been acted upon by the Nigeria Police Force or any relevant security agency. The lawyers further expressed concern that while Akpoti-Uduaghan's petitions remain unattended, counter-allegations filed by those she accused, including Senate President Godswill Akpabio and former Kogi State Governor Yahaya Bello, have been swiftly pursued, leading to criminal charges against her. The statement concluded with a renewed appeal for impartial investigations into all outstanding petitions and a call for justice to be applied equally without fear or favor. Former Governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Godwin Emefiele, has petitioned the Court of Appeal in Abuja to overturn a judgment granting the government full control of a substantial estate in Abuja comprising 753,000 units. The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, had earlier obtained a court order to seize the estate, situated in the local Goma district of Abuja. Initially, the estate was linked to another unnamed former government official. However, Emefiele, through his legal representative, A.M. Kotoye, contends that he ought to have been involved in the proceedings as he holds an interest in the property. He is now seeking the appeal court's reversal of the lower court's ruling. He informed the court that the EFCC published the interim forfeiture notice in an obscure section of a newspaper, making it difficult to detect. The trial court, however, dismissed his claim, ruling that the EFCC had followed due process and that the newspaper notice was sufficient. Meanwhile, Emefiele's legal team has written to the Ministry of Housing, urging the government to halt all plans to sell the estate until the appeal is resolved. The federal government had recently announced intentions to auction the estate to low and middle-income Nigerians. The Federal High Court in Abuja has admitted 3 videos, including one where the leader of the proscribed indigenous people of Biafra, Nnamdi Kanu, was saying inspecting a radio transmitter allegedly smuggled into the country. This was one of the highlights at the resumed hearing of the alleged terrorism trial, where Kanu alleged that he made statements on the jurors sometime in October and November 2015. The Radio Biafra transmitter, known as Trump 50L, was kept at Ibulukususo in the Ihala local government area of Anambra State, where he carried out an inspection. The third prosecution witness, an operative of the Department of State Services known as Mr. CCC, during the trial within trial, dismissed claims that the DSS used threats of solitary confinement to extract statements from the defendant. The defendant had claims that one Mr. Brown, a DSS operative, made a threat about solitary confinement in the dungeon. But the witness clarified that the names of the officers who took part in the interview are James Ibrahim and Collins, with no Mr. Brown among them. Meanwhile, Justice James Omotosho adjourned the matter till Thursday, May 29, the continuation of the hearing, and to deliver ruling on the admissibility of the statements. In the meantime, the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, has revealed that his administration is considering an increase in ground rent payments, while describing the refusal to pay ground rent and other taxes as his greatest challenge in office. The FCT administration began selling properties belonging to ground rent defaulters on Monday. These included the National Secretariat of the People's Democratic Party, the National Agency for Trafficking in Persons, the Federal Inland Revenue Service, a branch of Access Bank, and a Total Energies filling station. The leadership of the PDP and the FIRS criticized the actions of the Wike-led FCTA, describing them as unprofessional and an affront to the country's democracy. President Bola Tinubu intervened, granting a 14-day ultimatum for the payment of the owed sums, as well as penalties ranging between 2 million naira and 3 million naira, depending on locations within the FCT. Addressing journalists on Wednesday after inspecting ongoing projects in Abuja, Wike lamented that while residents demand infrastructure in the FCT, they failed to support the government by paying their taxes. He noted that many debtors owe as much as 20 years' worth of ground rent, despite the fact that the ground rent has remained unchanged for many years.
People just want facilities, people want infrastructure. But nobody asks, where are you getting this funds? Abuja does not know one of the oil cities who only rely on taxes. We did not give these are not new taxes. These are taxes that have been here for years. It's unfortunate that most elites own houses overseas. They know the implication of not paying your taxes. They know such taxes are gone. But when it comes to your own country, you don't want to do that simply because nobody wants to obey law, everybody thinks they're not sanctioned. And I've said it, that it did not happen yesterday, does not mean to not happen today. That will not happen today, will not happen tomorrow. So we must live, we must do something so that we're also supporting government to see that those infrastructure that we need, we do our own part. Look at the years, 20-something years, 30-something years. And how much is it? We have not increased the ground rent, but we are working towards that. We'll do that. I can assure you, the president has given a window of 2 weeks. Let nobody think that blackmail or whatever will stop us. We'll do what we're supposed to do. This is all about leadership. We will not get into blackmail. We do the right thing. At a time, I signed over 1,500 CFOs and assignments. Now, when we sign that, you collect the CFO, and then you will not pay taxes to government. I mean, it's not acceptable. It doesn't matter what anybody wants to do. So that's our challenge. Pay your taxes and see what we're doing. You don't to say, oh, FCT is doing well. How are we doing well? How and we're doing well. We're doing well because we're managing resources we have prudently. If you pay a tax, you will see that it will be a different thing. And that's what we're trying to do. So this is one of our heavy challenges that we're facing, and we'll surmount it. We are sure that we're going to surmount it.
Moving to Lagos State, a two-story building under construction has collapsed at Utauno Junction, near the mobile filling station bus stop in Ikorodu, leaving 3 people dead and several others injured. According to a situation update released by the Lagos State Emergency Management Agency on Wednesday, the agency promptly activated the state's emergency response plans following distress alerts. The agency said teams were mobilized from the Agboa, Alausa, and Kappa bases to the scene of the incident. It added that upon arrival, Lasemas Lion, Tiger, and Eagle response teams discovered that 3 individuals were trapped beneath the rubble. Despite rescue efforts, the victims, a teenage girl and 2 adult males, were recovered lifeless. However, the agency revealed that 9 adult males were successfully rescued and attended to by Lasemas pre-hospital care unit. You're watching news at 7 on Western Spring Television. Still to come, diphtheria outbreak in